my face looks stiff this episode, it's because I have a very bad canker sore, so yeah, have fun noticing this side of my face not moving too much. This video is made for collectors 13 and up. If you're younger than 13, we're your parents. Don't know if anybody cares enough about my channel to notice, but I've been transitioning into making Transformer reviews. Might expand that to other things in the future, but I'm not too sure about that yet. But as of writing this script, I have privated my AMVs and I will no longer be making them. Too bad, so sad. Those who've watched them, like, yay, but that's not going to, that honestly might get me copyrighted, and I honestly want to move on to making my own content. But I started collecting Transformers early last year, about March-ish, and my very first figure was 07 Bumblebee. And that video got a lot of views relative to my subscriber count. So let's do it again! This review is for a 2-pack of Bumblebee and Barricade from Transformers 1 all the way from Transformers 07. TF07 and the first X-Men movie are the two movies I remember most from my childhood, and specifically Barricade and Bumblebee's fight scene from TF07 is the scene that I remember the most, even though it was very short and Barricade just didn't do anything else for the rest of the movie. So, feeling very nostalgic and starting out my Studio Series collection, I decided to get this 2-pack. Yeah, long story short, these guys suck. Barricade looks visually great just standing there in robot mode, but that's basically all you can get him to do and not want to kill yourself. Like, his arm posing is decent, but everything else is either too limited or a chore. On mine, and from what I hear is a common issue, is that the tab is supposed to keep the chest and the waist together doesn't actually keep it together and just is super loose and flops whenever you move it at all. His car boobs also don't really click in, so just grabbing him wrong can reset them, which is a bit annoying, especially since I do stop motions, and whenever I use him, sometimes I don't notice it, so half his chest is in vehicle mode, the other half is in robot mode. It's just annoying. Something else I hear is a common issue is the ball joint that the hood is on. Specifically, the socket for it is made of clear plastic, and mine has really bad cracks and stress marks on it, which scares me for its longevity, especially since you have to twist and raise the hood over the panels of the rest of the roof of the car. Like, that's just bad design. This needs a redo, and I honestly am probably gonna have to pick up a new version of him, probably from that multi-pack set, if I'm gonna be honest, and keep this one in vehicle mode because I'm just too scared. Something that I like about him is the way that you get him to hold his weapon. I really like how you can close his hand up and it reveals the 5mm port that you can put his... What even is this thing? A freaking lawnmower? I am out of tea. Barricade's transformation isn't as difficult as it is frustrating. Going from car to robot isn't bad because you just tear him apart essentially, but going from robot to car, that's where all the problems lie. You need to align slots on the thigh with tabs on the doors, on the arms, and at the same time make sure that the rest of the car is aligned up in a way where once you plug everything in, it'll be, solid. The problem with that is you can't see the tab and slots when you're at that stage of the transformation. One blocks the other unless you're angling it just to right and keeping one eye closed and squeezing and trying to see. You're not going to be able to figure out what you're doing, and because of that, most of the time you're going to mess up and then have to take it apart, do it again, take it apart, do it again, and one must imagine Sisyphus happy. And after you excrete blood, sweat, and tears into turning him into a car. He looks really nice. He looks near spot on to the film, and the only one that I'd say looks better is the multi-pack one with the black windows. Unfortunately, this one from the set doesn't have the punish and the slave thing, which, to be fair, it's supposed to be something that they corrected because people didn't like it because controversy, slavery, my people. I'm half black, I don't care about that. I would have loved that to be on there, but I'm not going to spend over $50 on a toy I don't like just to get an extra detail. Okay, maybe I will in the future, but not now. His lawnmower thing plugs into the underneath side of the front bumper, and I guess it's supposed to reference the xenomorph headlights they had in the film. Still don't really understand what the point of that was, just to look cool. I guess they made props and they wanted to use them. Ignore the white on the front bumper there. I had to use paper to increase the friction for that rubber piece and the bumper because due to me getting this 2-pack in mid to late 2023, the rubber piece was warped out of its packaging because it's just sitting in its box so long. Pain. Bumblebee, on the other hand, looks like somebody gave him a one-piece suit that was too tight, but he can't afford to get a new one, so he just sits there and deals with it. He just looks uncomfortable. And he also feels uncomfortable to play with because nothing in this guy tabs in. Out of the package, his arm rip-off and replaced with the cannon gimmick was like very tight on the peg, and the joint itself was very loose. So we just popped the friction joint off, and it was just not fun. Fix that connection with super glue still isn't the best, but it's better than it used to be. And also out of the packaging, all of his joints were incredibly loose, or at least all the ball joints were, so I also fixed that with super glue. But that didn't really help the enjoyment of this figure. Yeah, no amount of fixing, I think, will ever make me enjoy this robot mode, which is really unfortunate because I love that original design. Speaking of that design, this doesn't really look too accurate. Like, for being Studio Series, I'm really disappointed in this. His forearms look anemic, his shins are way too big. His backpack doesn't tab in, his chest is too wide. It's just not good. But, and this is a big but, you have to remember that this is just a very first Studio Series figure. When they were still in that Age of Extinction, the Last Night era of making toys. Which, around that time is when I got out of Transformers in the first place, so. But Mail, this is actually Studio Series 27, that's Studio Series 01. Correct. Counterpoint, shut the fuck up. The designers have stated multiple times that they want to revisit some of the old Studio Series figures and remake them, and I think that this guy will benefit from that heavily. All they need to do is take the Studio Series 49/74/87 Bumblebee mold and remold it into the 77 Camaro. There's only two issues with the 49 mold, and it's that the backpack makes him look wider from the front and his wheels are too far apart. But that's the only two issues I've been able to see other people talk about, and these are the only two issues that actually, I don't even have issues with that. It's fine. This needs to transform at this size. So it's not going to be 100% perfect, but in my eyes, it's 90% perfect, and that's really, really good. This Beast transformation is Studio Series 100 from the waist up, and just a essentially prototype version of SS49 in the leg area. It's nothing really new. It's just fiddly, nothing too fun to deal with, but nothing new, nothing too complicated, just slightly annoying because of the build quality of the figure itself. His car mode is great, and I don't care what you say, I love the boxy Camaro. I loved high octane Bumblebee's vehicle mode, and I want it. Please let's get an actual proper version of that character. This Camaro is supposed to be his clunker form, and it did have some rusted paint out of the box. This is a good point to mention that I did add paint to this guy. You probably saw it in the robot mode. It was just a vain attempt to make me like this figure better. It didn't really work too well. Like I said before, B is that 77 Camaro that he was in before he transitioned into that one car that everybody wanted as a kid and still wants as an adult. And Barricade over here is the car that everybody who wanted a Camaro but also wanted to be different from everybody else got when they became an adult, but they still secretly want a Camaro. The Mustang looks really good, and so is both of these guys look really good in vehicle mode together. And honestly, that's probably where I'm going to keep Barricade at least. Again, I'm too scared to mess with this guy because I don't want to break that hinge, because this guy's really expensive on the aftermarket for some reason. And I don't have the money to buy the replacement or the multi-pack yet, so. And unfortunately, this is the most fun mode that you can get out of these figures. Like, I even did a stop motion back in the day where it was this version of Bumblebee's car, and then I transitioned it into Studio Series 100 Bumblebee for the robot mode, just because I could not deal with the robot mode for this Bumblebee. I just really, really hate it. And again, I know it's just a re-release of the original version, but they couldn't have fixed any of the tolerances. He was worse out of the box than what I hear the original was like. It's just very frustrating. I really wanted to like this figure, but I just can't. And Barricade, he at least looks good just standing still. And I definitely cannot recommend paying the aftermarket price that I paid for it personally. I paid $100 for this set, and it was not worth it in my opinion. And it really sucks that I do not like this set. Like I said, as a kid, my favorite scene was their fight. Now my favorite scene is just a pee-pee joke. So as glad as I am to have these guys in the collection as a perfectionist, I have a problem. I'm getting every Studio Series figure, even if it costs me $200. I want to limit my knockoff collection to basically 0 if I can. I just can't recommend this set. Anyway, that's been my look at this Studio Series 2-pack. This is your Stormcaster, signing off.